Hello, welcome back, and we are drawing more characters based on their physical descriptions in books. And in the previous video we did the character from Willy Heinrich's Crumbling Fortress, and today we are doing one from Hammond. I'm reliably told it's Hammond Innes, and I called him Hammond Ines all the way through my review. It's Hammond Innes, and it's the Trojan horse.
Called him Smith, it would have done.
And, we've read the description ahead of time, and we're now going to draw based on it.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, you will hear that description, and you might well see it on the screen as well.
Cool.
Depends how much effort I put into editing. Okay?
Okay. I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
So you may begin. Though her face was entrancingly neat and boyish, it was her head that inevitably held one's gaze. I think it was the finest head I'd ever seen on a woman. The face was oval to the point of the firm chin and framed in black hair brushed sleek to the nape of her neck. The mouth was clearly moulded and full enough to give the promise of warmth. The nose was straight and small, with delicately chiselled nostrils, and the thin line of her eyebrows swept upwards over dark eyes to a high forehead. It was difficult to describe her, and at the same time give any idea of the extreme perfection of those features.
And this was 1940, wasn't it?
Yeah. Can I just say how fine your head is looking today?
It's a fine head, isn't it?
And the thing that we talked about while we were drawing was this oval face, right?
Yeah.
But actually, he makes a clear distinction between the head and the face. So it isn't the head that's oval, it's the face.
Face is oval and the head is...
The head
is cube.
It could be any shape, it's not described.
Just a funny, weird hairline.
Well, there is something weird about the hairline, because he doesn't describe it other than say it's...
Does it say down the left shoulder?
Sleek to the nape of her neck. No, that was the previous one, that's the left shoulder. This one is sleek to the nape of her neck. That's all you get. So is she bald? And she's just got like a bald man's ponytail?
Yeah.
We're done with the description. Those are the previous two. Right?
Yeah.
So now I think we need to do the reveal.
Can I go first? Only because I think you should show yours by itself. Because it's that good. It's that good. Let me just do away with mine.
Okay, you show yours.
So right, have a little look. Similar to my other one. Similar to my other ones.
I think you might have let the other one carry you over a little bit into the looking like death. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But other than that,
so we've got the warm lips. They promise warmth.
Do they?
We see those, yeah.
They look like the cold grave.
We've got the chiselled nose, and it is a fine head. Like, have a look at the chiselled nose, and it's a fine head. Can
I ask how you interpreted chiselled? Because it wasn't a chiselled nose; it was chiselled nostrils.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I've just gone for just delicately. Imagine me working on that. Imagine Michelangelo on David's. Just a very fine manoeuvre round.
in terms of a description.
Oh, and a firm chin.
This is our love interest for this novel.
Yes.
So in terms of the description, does it sound like somebody that you would particularly want to date? I'm guessing not from the image that you've drawn of her.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
It's the finest head I've ever seen.
Quite like a small nose, maybe, but...
Yeah.
A small, delicate nose, I think.
So let's take it to a slightly absurd degree, right? Before I show my picture.
That's not absurd enough, but yeah, go on then. Let's stretch it further.
Let's say that you saw this person.
This one that I've drawn.
Yeah, that you've drawn. Yeah. And that description was what came to your mind.
Yeah.
And you thought, I'm going to go and talk to this girl, and I'm going to woo her using the things that has immediately struck me about her appearance. So would you then go up to somebody? I just want the description in front of me.
What would I say?
I'm going to say because it's on here.
Right.
Can I just say how lovely your head is looking today?
Yeah.
It might be the finest head I've ever seen. And your delicately chiselled nostrils.
Yeah.
Are most
remarkable.
They are delicate. Yeah. Those clearly moulded lips promise warmth.
I think that would woo me, yeah.
Yeah, you think that would work?
I think that would work.
Good to know. Next time
it is good to know, isn't it?
I'm out clubbing, I'm going to try it.
Next time you write a poem, even. Just include that.
The delicately chiselled nostrils.
Yeah, I think
What rhymes with nostrils?
nostrils, pretzels,
Pretzels.
sort of.
Yeah. I'd love to put pretzels in your delicately nostrils.
I'd love to watch you eat pretzels.
So I'm going to show mine.
Oh, go on, yeah, you got
Right.
to show yours. That's
Ready?
fantastic, yeah. Can they see it?
The forehead is specific. Look at your forehead.
Yeah, go on. What have
This
I've
says
done it wrong.
the line of her eyebrows
Oh,
swept
yeah.
upwards over dark eyes to a high forehead.
Yeah,
Where's your high forehead?
it's not high.
And you can see that my lips, they
Yeah.
don't just promise warmth.
Mine are all very
She's smoking
similar.
a cigarette, so they literally are warm. They couldn't promise any more warmth than being basically on fire.
But to be honest, there's something quite similar about all of these, even though they're different authors, I thought, didn't you?
In that they're both awful.
There's a commonality.
The
They're trash.
commonality is that we could draw two pictures based on the description and have them bear no relation whatsoever.
These
to
are going on Vogue, mate.
Well, they go on YouTube.
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
I'm intrigued as well by the hair because we have no description of the hair other than that it's sleek to the nape of the neck, which I think is just. I
Brushed,
don't know what they mean by that.
Sleek to the nape of the neck. I think you're right. Yours is quite tight to the head and the
Yeah, because I've gone for it yanked back into a ponytail.
and the back of the neck. Yeah. I think that's probably
Whereas
right.
you went for the self-portrait.
I've gone for the flowing hair.
Yeah.
So we've established then, really, through our number of drawings, that extensive characterisation, or rather character descriptions like these,
Are a waste of time.
seem to be a waste of time.
Yeah. You need to be thinking about your language and what it says about character more than what it says about physical
Yeah.
points. Because what does entrancingly neat and boyish say? That boyish speaks more about the character than the physical attributes of the person, because you go, well, if you're describing a woman as boyish, that's not generally complimentary. I'm not adding it to my pickup lines when I'm quoting.
Yeah, just stick with the nice head.
But entrancing would be fine without entrancingly neat.
See,
She had an entrancing
Yeah.
figure, long dark hair.
what is
need any
entrancingly neat? Unless I'm, just completely dense.
Well,
what is that?
I don't really know. Just like fairly well formed.
You see, I get the next bit. So, entrancingly neat and boyish. It was her head.
You get that?
No,
You get that?
I got to get it out. It was her head that inevitably held one's gaze. They're very attractive and they hold your gaze, but ignore the head bit. But
But the head part is mentioned twice. It's hard to ignore. It's the finest head. So it's the head that inevitably held one's gaze. It was the finest head I've ever seen. So it's done twice. So you can't go, I'm going to ignore the head.
finest head.
But what you're saying
Yeah.
is that it held one's gaze, right? But if I say she's entrancing without saying she's entrancingly neat, because that's just like, no. She's entrancing. Am I not saying that she holds your gaze?
I mean, you are.
This is just repeating yourself.
Yeah. Entrancing seems to me that you're enticed by your own volition, but inevitably kind of means like, you don't really have a choice. You know what I mean? It's a very different feel to that sort of language, I think.
I disagree with you.
What?
I do. I kind of think...
Don't you know who I am?
I kind of accept what you're saying a little bit, but I would say that if you're entranced, then your attention is drawn regardless of your will. You're in a trance, you're being made to do it, which is the same as when you're inevitably doing it. So I think the language does the same, but in terms of the language of romance and affection...
Entrancing is better, isn't it?
Entrancing, inevitable. It's just. Do you know if you'd been in a car crash?
Yeah.
And your face was all like, and you're bandaged up. And
Not the finest head anymore. Yeah.
It's no longer a fine head, but it would be the head that it would inevitably draw your attention.
Yeah.
You'd be like, don't. Yeah, somebody say, look. Don't look
at the head.
He's lost an eye. Don't stare into his eye socket. He gets a bit funny about it. You're inevitably going to be
It's like Austin Powers, isn't it? Mole.
Yeah. Mole.
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 Moley.
You're absolutely right.
Brilliant.
It's just like the inevitable part of it seems to have really negative connotations that entrancing in this context doesn't.
So. Yeah.
What about a firm chin?
Again, I mean, it sort of is counterintuitive to this whole sort of entrancing feeling, I think. Isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah.
It's like... Point of the firm chin, you know.
I mean, I gave mine the Kirk Douglas. Because, like, from me, myself and Irene, we're getting all highbrow now with Austin Powers and Jim Carrey movies. But me, myself and Irene, it's like, your chin's a bit, you know... So he goes and has that thing done, doesn't he? It's like the Kirk Douglas stuck on the end of his face.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, now it's a firm chin. You don't get much firmer than that. But is that feminine? Is that this person is attractive?
Mm. You've mentioned in other videos that authors don't necessarily always keep track of what they're writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a case of that, because you've got entrancing, you've got inevitably, then you've got a firm chin, but you've got a warm mouth. This is just, it's hot and cold. It's not, this is not a unified image. It's just, at odds.
It comes back almost to like saying that she's a very slight tomboy.
Mm.
So if you were in the 1940s and this girl was like, I fix cars. And I'm, because it's in the war, I'm working in the factory and I'm doing things that would be in 1940 fully masculine. You would have that contradiction. And therefore this contradiction in the language, entrancing inevitably, this firm, this delicate, it would work for you. But you would also still need to tie it into the character in the description here for it to unify.
That's right, yeah.
And definitely. I don't think that it does. I think that you're right in that it's almost like this guy's like, who's he describing? Do you think he had somebody in mind? It's like, I'm going to describe 940 Vera Lynn. I'm going to describe Vera Lynn, and everybody will know from the description that this person looks like Vera Lynn.
Yeah.
No. You literally could not picture that person in your mind from that description.
I don't think you could.
So it is a waste of time. You need to get the personality to be part of your description for it to work.
And just to extend that, you want to get the wider context as well, which brings us on.
Let me do mine first.
You're going to do yours first?
I am, because mine, I think, is the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In that you describe personality.
Yeah.
And the physical part of it is very limited.
Right, okay.
And with good reason, as you'll see when I tell you that this is from, when I find a page.
Yeah.
This is actually from Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
So he's describing the pigs.
Yeah.
Napoleon and Snowball. Napoleon was a large, rather fierce-looking Berkshire boar, the only Berkshire on the farm. Not much of a talker, but with a reputation for getting his own way. Very quick, very little, but it gives you character. You get that sense of the power of him from his physicality and from his personality through this. And this is written for, young teenagers. You teach this book to 12-year-olds at school.
Right.
So it's fully accessible, and yet it's still doing so much more than 100 descriptions like the two that we've had.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's so short, so powerful, and so accessible. And strangely enough, if we were to sit down now and draw a Berkshire boar, I reckon our pictures would be fairly similar. We'd probably both give them a moustache like Star Wars. Okay, so done. But that's all you need, as far as I'm concerned. So who did you pick?
Cool. Did you say perhaps your favourite Christmas Carol?
That's a really horrible cover.
It's an awful cover.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, the illustrator is Simon Dewey. I no idea, but it's not a great cover.
No.
For a puffing classic.
Yeah. And Dickens.
Yeah.
Given that it's illustrated, you'd take a picture from it.
It is awful.
If you were that.
In fact, when I was reading it, I would have it cover face down like that, because I didn't want to look at that.
Okay, now you're exaggerating.
Yeah, so this is your favourite, one of your favourite books, isn't it? Now, whilst that was a bit short, I think...
Sorry, that when you bent the covers back like that, I had to remind myself that is your book and not mine.
Don't lend me a book, I'll break the back of it, alright?
Keep it. Especially now you've broken the back of it.
I think you did give this to me, actually.
Yeah. You are
yeah.
the bane of literature. And people might be like, you know, because we're up mark and not get that that's a Batman reference. But it works on two levels.
It's double A, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm demanding a lol in the comments for the bane of literature because he broke the back of the book.
So
tell me about tell me about Dickens.
I know nothing about Shakespeare.
Tell me about Dickens, otherwise I'm going to be upset.
Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shrivelled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head and on his eyebrows and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. So it is longer than Orwell, considerably, really.
Yeah.
And equal to possibly the descriptions that we've been looking at.
Yeah, I think probably longer than them, but yeah.
Potentially, but you've got a world of difference, haven't you? It's a majorly different feel.
I picked that passage in my video about...
or
parts of it, of my video about character descriptions, which I'll link below. But the thing that is so good about, well, the whole text, but is right there in the heart of that description, is the metaphor of temperature for warmth of character that runs through the whole book. And you see this in the houses that are welcoming will have roaring fires and smoke out the chimneys, and everybody's crowded around those fires. And then you have Scrooge alone with the frost gathering on his own head, where he's it's just brilliant.
It's brilliant, isn't it? You're not getting narrow, squinty eyes, are you? You're not getting hair over his nape of the neck.
No,
you know, you're not getting anything like that.
There's a little bit of his physical descriptions, but again, it ties in with the temperature, like the pale blue lips.
Sort of the less is more in the sense here. The cold within him froze his old features. Now, he's not gone on to say how they are old. We all just picture old features, old person, relative or not. It's just absolutely magical. And I think the complexity of his language actually shines even more when you get something like, so he's secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. And what can you find in an oyster?
Yeah.
A pearl.
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, that is the thing, right?
But
so they are solitary, obviously, but you could potentially find a pearl. So I think the magic of Dickens is you get, on the surface, he's solitary, but underneath that, he's hinting at potentially there's still something in there that is going to happen, and he may turn out to be a bit of a pearl. And it's the same with hard and sharp as flint. You think cold stone, but flint starts fire. Yeah. So there's the potential for change.
It comes back to the metaphor of all the way through of the heat and the fire, the welcoming of warmth, coming into people's character as well as it is wonderful. And I know we're comparing probably one of the greatest writers kind of ever with these other authors. Not quite like, but
no, but it's still, they're still using writing and language and people and context and story. To any writer, they should look at how do the greater ones do it, and particularly how Dickens has done it here. The method is character, context, and metaphor, isn't it? You know, not necessarily in that order, but it's.
I don't know where I read it somewhere that I can tell the quality of an author by the standard of their metaphors. Yeah, and the fact that you see it in Shakespeare as well, that as well as here, and the metaphor of the heat, for example, that they're consistent. The metaphor runs through the entire text. Yeah, and when you have that, and it's consistent the whole way through, you know that you're dealing with a special talent.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when you have something that would like people forget what they've written and contradict themselves later on in the text,
or the next line,
and not concerned with the consequences of what they're writing, which I talk about all the time, it drives me nuts. Then you're dealing with a bad writer. So that's the difference between Dickens. Absolutely will know the consequences of what he's written, and they will be all the way from the start to the end.
You see, rather than read all these things that we have done and gone through all those little bits of description and the structure of the face and all that kind of stuff, which probably the authors thought at the time that was really good. Well, I'm saying I don't think it was. I would rather have just this one line from Dickens and have nothing else about Scrooge. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. Yeah. That would just be enough for me. Yeah. You can surmise quite easily, actually, a person like that, maybe even parts of yourself, you know. You can, and that is enough. I mean, that's just wonderful, isn't it? Yeah. You've really got everything in that one line.
And the theme of the text is there.
Yeah.
The theme of the character is it's all there in just that one line. You really can, regardless of what you're writing, what genre you're writing, you really can do that. Yeah. We started off with Hammond Innes.
Yeah.
A writer of thrillers of decent repute in the 40s, 50s, and I think into the 60s.
Right.
And then we have, that's 19.
Yeah.
And then we have gone to George Orwell.
Yeah.
We've gone to Charles Dickens. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.
See you in the next one, yeah. And I'm going to get these into the Tate, I think. Are you going for the Tate, or are you going to go for the Turner Prize, which is the...
Who's the one that does...
Yeah.
The French one? Concord?
I'm not
something.
Sure.
I want that one because we're French, you know. When it comes down to art,
a bit more classy, yeah.
If you
they had the Impressionists, didn't they?
Oh yeah, it's like, I won an award for art, and they go and go, what was that? It's like Turner.
Yeah.
But then
did you make your bed?
But if you were to go, Le Teneur.
Yeah, Le Teneur.
I'm going to be like, what? Wow. An artist from
you sophisticated bastard.
Winning the French, that must be seriously good.
Yeah.
Seriously good. But going back to, you said you want to be in the Tate. It's like, well, the Tate has been soured by the Tate Modern.
Yeah.
Because if you say, I'm in the Tate.
Actually, do you know what? I meant the Tate Modern. Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah. Well, these are modern drawings. They're not cubist, obviously, but they're caricatures, I suppose.
But yeah, you can go, I'm in an exhibition. Where is it? Tate Modern. Okay. All right, fine.
I've got some modern portraits of the Queen. Do you want to have a look?
If you release them as portraits of the Queen, I think you get strung up for treason. Though her face was entrancingly neat and boyish, it was her head that inevitably held one's gaze. I think it was the finest head I'd ever seen on a woman. Can I just say how fine your head is?
Yeah.
I could do this.